Good evening and welcome to our Rams pregame show presented by Cedars-Sinai. I'm JB Long. You know Maurice Jones-Drew. Looking forward to hearing from our Super Bowl champion DeMarco Farr and team reporter Serena Morales as well throughout this half hour or so as we count down to kickoff. It's a Monday Night Football affair here at SoFi Stadium in Week 7 between the 4-2 Los Angeles Rams and the 5-1 Chicago Bears. We've got all kinds of matchups and analysis, storylines from throughout the week. But let's begin, Maurice, with reflections on what Monday Night Football means to you here in 2020.
You know, Monday Night Football, no matter if it's 2020, if it was 2006, it is a time to shine. At the end of the day, I know there's no fans here, but everyone at home is watching this matchup, not only because of the two great teams that are playing, but there's no other game on TV. Everybody's at work waiting for this game to happen. This reminds me of Friday Night Football when you're at school and you have your jersey on and you're just waiting. It's third period, it's fourth period, it's fifth period. You're waiting to that sixth period for that bell to ring so you can get ready to go out there and play with your friends.
Well, as you know, the Rams are looking for a bounce-back performance offensively after a disappointing outing Sunday Night Football at San Francisco, and they're going to face maybe the best defense in the National Football League tonight in the Chicago Bears. Let's start with some pregame news with the inactives. And Tyler Higbee, unfortunately, will not be able to go with a hand injury that's lingered throughout the week. What does that mean for Sean McVay's plan?
That is a huge hit to what we thought the plan would be. Running downhill, getting your tight ends involved. Obviously, Higbee is a guy that is a former receiver. You could use him on different option routes. So it's going to be important to see how they get Gerald Everett involved, Johnny Mutt involved, and if they try to run downhill at this Bears defense.
In his place, we'll see rookie tight end Bryson Hopkins dressed for the first time. But don't forget about Johnny Munt. He kind of had a coming-out party at the Coliseum last year in a win over the Chicago Bears. In the backfield, how do you see the distribution of carries going if and when they do try to run downhill?
Well, I truly believe that you stick with the hot hand. That's Darrell Henderson, all what he's done. He's done a phenomenal job. You're going to stick with him. You're a PFF guy. They have him ranked second. I saw that in your notes, which is awesome. You've been doing a great job of taking those notes, too, by the way. But also, if it gets to critical situations, you're going to see Malcolm Brown. And I truly believe that he is their teddy bear, your comfort blanket. When you're a little nervous, you're going to put Malcolm Brown there because he's not going to make mistakes. He understands the playbook. He understands how to protect, and he's your strongest pass protector. And then I think you're going to sprinkle in a little Cam Akers, and you're going to try to see if you could get him going as well. But you're going to lean on Darrell Henderson early.
How about a lot of Cam Akers? Only one snap last week, didn't get a touch. He's got the game-breaking ability to get through some of these great tacklers and pursuers from the Chicago Bears. Last thing on offense, Maurice, any doubt in your mind that Jared Goff and Cooper Kupp are going to be back in sync after an uncharacteristic disconnect at San Francisco?
Well, I think because it's your divisional opponent, it's a team that understands how you try to attack them. You had a little issue there. But there were some opportunities that were missed. 2 or 3 big plays down the field. And so you hope that this practice, you come back in this week of practice, that you attack those issues and you face them head on. And I truly believe the professionals that Jared Goff and Cooper Kupp are, that they'll be ready to go. And you're going to need both those guys to play really well tonight against the Chicago Bears defense.
And a couple of connections to that defense. Leonard Floyd changing jerseys, now playing for the Rams in this primetime matchup. And defensive coordinator Brandon Staley obviously grew up a bit under Vic Fangio, and his performance against the Rams in 2018. 2018 is a game that Sean McVay still remembers, not fondly.
It wasn't good for anybody. Let's just be honest. We didn't have the best time either. It was freezing outside. We were cold. The Rams were getting manhandled physically on the offensive side, and it just wasn't the type of weather and type of game you wanted to put out there on Sunday night. But guess what? When you beat a team like that, 9 out of 10 times you get an opportunity to join that team and help them be better. And you know what? You may have some secrets on this defense or on their personnel that you can attack.
So 18 was rough, but even though you only got 19 points a year ago at the Coliseum, I was reminded of a couple 51-yard completions. One to Josh Reynolds for a touchdown that was called off because of an alignment penalty at the line of scrimmage. And then another one that Cooper Kupp had at the pylon, remember?
Yes.
Kind of spilled over that pylon, initially ruled a touchdown. Upon video review, they took it away. So the Rams did have some explosives coming back a year later from that 2018 game, and I wonder if we might see them get over the top against a super secondary for Chicago tonight.
Well, the plan is to try to lull them to sleep. I mean, in 2019, you ran the ball so much that everyone was like, all right, they're going to keep running, then poof, you have a guy run right by you. And so the key is to try to lull this secondary to sleep because they do play well when you get a ton of pass rush. So you want to get those guys foaming at the mouth for the run. I need to stop the run, and then you slip guys out behind them. Robert Woods would probably be a guy that we'll see. But I still believe that this Rams receiving core is still one of the best. and they have this is a challenge for them, but not one of the toughest ones that they'll face this year. I think this is where the Rams have an advantage with this receiving core against those DBs.
Yeah, a couple of key defenders, including Buster Screen in the slot and Khalil Mack on the edge, were questionable for this one with injuries of their own, but they are both active and should go. And so as we send it over to DeMarco Farr, that means that what could be the best defense in the National Football League will be full strength for Monday Night Football against these Rams, DeMarco.
Yeah, I guess they put Khalil Mack in that cryo sleep, and he's ready for game day. And I was just a little bit distracted. Cordero Patterson just walked onto the field. I see why he's so good at kick returns. Who wants to hit that from 35 yards away? My goodness, that guy is big. But, yeah, you mentioned the defense. And Sean McVay, and we know this full well, when he talks about playing Chicago, he scored a grand total of 23 points in 2 games. Now, he's 1-1. That's good. But 23 points, you know he wants to correct that. So most people think Chicago has this number. They got a big defensive front. They flatten out your offensive line. They force everything onto Jared Goff. That seems to be the way to beat the Rams. So Sean McVay knows this. We'll see how he approaches it. And this Bears defense, this 2020 version, is no different from the ones he's faced in the past. Big up front, Akeem Hicks, Bilal Nichols. That's like 700 pounds of just walking disaster. Plus, you mentioned Khalil Mack. That's the skill on the defensive line that can get to you from anywhere. And they have a guy that you kind of know in Robert Quinn. And they have a rotation of pass rushers. They can align different combinations to give any offensive line fits. So, how are the Rams going to attack this? I would say this: change tempo. Absolutely. You're going to have to speed it up, slow it down, use your hard count. If you want to go big, if Chuck Pagano wants to go big and go simple, good. Let's test that theory. Let's go sideline to sideline. Let's make fatigue a factor. And then, know this going in: Chicago's good. They're going to hit you in the backfield a few times. They're going to make plays. You're going to have to overcome some negative plays, but you can't compound it with holding calls and dropping back to 1st and 20. That's when those bigs up front just pin their ears back and come after you. And look, if you're Sean McVay, coach this game like you got a quarterback. Coach this game like you got some weapons. Don't be afraid to go downfield and take some shots. It's going to be there. Chuck Pagano feels only the special quarterbacks can beat my defense. Let's hope Jared Goff is special today.
All right, thank you to Marco. And once again, in case you missed it, he'll have to do it without Tyler Higbee, who's inactive with an injury for the first time this season. And if you are just tuning in, welcome to our Rams pregame show presented by Cedars-Sinai. It is the Rams' crucial catch game tonight. And our friend Serena Morales will be along shortly to talk about some of the amazing individuals in the Rams family that we are honoring here tonight. JB Long, Maurice Jones-Drew. Let's talk about 2 of those amazing individuals a little bit more specifically. Khalil Mack, DeMarco touched on, Aaron Donald for the Los Angeles Rams. If you were to re-rack that 2014 draft and you had the top pick, I think we know they're going 1-2, but do I need to ask in what order?
This has always been a tough one. Do you want edge pressure or do you want interior pressure? And for me, interior pressure is always the hardest to get away from. Now, my old football team, the Jacksonville Jaguars, had an opportunity to draft both. They went with a quarterback instead. And then I got a chance to play with Khalil Mack and play against Aaron Donald. So watching those 2 guys to play against on the other side of Aaron Donald and obviously practice against Khalil Mack, they're both special in their own right. And they both find ways to attack the quarterback. But I think what you've seen from Aaron Donald throughout his career shows that he is the best player, the best defensive player in football, maybe up there teetering on football history.
Couple of former defensive players of the year. Any truth to the rumor that that's why you got out of that league, that you retired after that 14 season because you saw what was coming?
Yes and no. I mean, listen, it's a young man's game, JB, and he hit me one time in practice, and we had to have a talk about practice tempo versus game tempo.
All right, let's meet the 4th member of our team tonight at SoFi Stadium here in Inglewood, a gorgeous Monday evening, and we send it over to Serena Morales. Good evening, Serena.
Hi, JB. Thank you very much. Now, you mentioned it before. Today's game day theme is Crucial Catch, where we get to honor cancer survivors and those that are still battling with the disease. There are a few members of the Rams, both coaches and players, who have been affected, including offensive lineman Chandler Brewer, who opted out this season due to his battle with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. Special teams coordinator John Bonamego was diagnosed with the disease back in 2015, the same season. He actually became the head coach at his alma mater at Central Michigan. Defensive coordinator Brandon Staley supported his father through cancer, battled with cancer himself, and also lost his mother to cancer. And then rookie running back Cam Akers actually has been so inspired, he says, due to his mother's bout with breast cancer. So I would recommend you check out those stories on therams.com for more information on those. And while you're there, please check out the Make-A-Wish recipient, Kyle Frazier, planning to play football at Savannah State, beat cancer this past year and got a surprise phone call from his favorite player, Aaron Donald. His Make-A-Wish wish was to work out with Aaron Donald, with his teammates. That wish came true, and Aaron Donald surprised him with the news just ahead of tonight's match. He is one of our crucial catch captains for tonight's game. And in addition to the theme of today, the theme of the month, and this year, don't forget to vote. Today is October 26th. You got a week left. Election day is around the corner. The Rams have partnered with Rock the Vote. I've already voted. But fans, we want to get you guys all educated and ready to go. So get this, SoFi Stadium will actually have a vote center that you can vote here, submit your ballot from October 30th to November 3rd. So make sure you check that out. Anyone registered in LA County can actually vote right here. It's very easy. Hopefully it's as easy as tonight's game against the Bears. JB?
I see what you did there, Serena. Nicely done, and also you're exactly right. Kudos to our social and digital team for all of their hard work putting together those fascinating stories. Encourage you to check those out before kickoff. We're just an hour away now from Monday Night Football, Week 7. The 5-1 Chicago Bears, the 4-2 Los Angeles Rams. MJD and JB Long here at midfield at SoFi Stadium, and let's dig into a couple of fascinating one-on-one matchups. And we also need to say happy birthday to Jalen Ramsey, who's featured prominently in one of them against his former Jaguar teammate.
You know, it's a crazy thing when you practice against a guy every day for 3 years. And Allen Robinson and Jalen Ramsey went at it. I remember going to Jacksonville and specifically watching them in one-on-ones all the time. They went against each other. Iron sharpens iron. Allen Robinson ends up leaving in free agency to the Chicago Bears, and Jalen Ramsey gets traded to the Los Angeles Rams. And they meet up last year. And Jalen was mic'd up. And he says, hey, just like practice. And that's what it's all about. It's Jalen Ramsey knows what Allen Robinson's going to do. He understands his moves, how he's going to play, how he runs certain routes. And Allen Robinson understands how Jalen's going to play. Be a physical guy. He's going to try to beat you up at the point of contact. When you catch the ball, you got to make sure you hold on to it because 20's coming to kind of blow your back out a little bit. So it's going to be a terrific matchup. You know the Chicago Bears are going to lean on Allen Robinson like they always have. Nick Foles is going to throw that 50-50 ball up, and Jalen's going to have to be there to defend it.
Only 4 catches, 15 yards for Robinson in that matchup against Ramsey last year, but that was with Mitchell Trubisky doing most of the work at quarterback at the Coliseum a year ago. As you pointed out, it's Foles at quarterback this year for Chicago. Here's another change as we look at our next matchup. Rob Havenstein did not play against the Bears last year. He's back at right tackle instead of Bobby Evans, who got a lot of help from the tight end group and did quite well against Khalil Mack a season ago.
Well, I thought last year the game plan was completely different because there were so many injuries. Robert Woods was out. It was a lot of this stuff going on outside of football. And Sean McVay really simplified his game plan and said, look, we're comfortable running the ball 3 times and punting if we have to, and we'll let our defense win this one. And it may be a very similar type game plan. I think you have the potential more to be a little bit more explosive. But the key to that game plan was that you had help. Sometimes you singled up Khalil Mack, but most of the time he was doubled or triple teamed with tight end help, chip, a running back would come and help as well. I think you want to do that early on, kind of wear him down, and then allow Rob Havenstein to lean on him in the running game and wear him out, and then you let him go one-on-one with him. It's going to be a terrific matchup because Khalil Mack, he can win ball games. And that's the scary part about him and Aaron Donald.
He can get your defense off the field. You touched on special teams briefly there. Being willing to punt, to leverage Johnny Hecker's skill to your advantage. One other special teams note, you may have seen the Rams sign Kai Forbath to their active roster from the Bears practice squad. He got his first look pregame here at SoFi Stadium, went through a workout, but it still is Samuel Sloman, the 7th-round draft pick for the Rams, who will be the kicker tonight. Kai Forbath is inactive. For more one-on-one battles, let's send it back to DeMarco Farr.
Well, that's so funny, man. I was thinking about my one-on-ones, and you guys mentioned one of them. You got Khalil Mack versus Rob Havenstein, and then I checked myself. I don't think that's really a favorable matchup. Khalil Mack is just that special, so that's more than just Havenstein. That's Goff, that's McVay. Make sure you don't leave Havenstein or anybody singled up against Mack because he will wreck. So that's funny. Cordell Patterson just walked out, so Sam Sloman is still the place kicker. So I'll switch. I'll call an audible. I'll say Sam Sloman in kickoffs versus Patterson. If you give this guy an opportunity to return a kick, he will. And more often than not, he's going to hurt you with it. So Nick Foles, the offense is struggling. What cures an alien offense? Good field position. If you can't kick it into the end zone and you let Patterson out a few times, you've got issues. So I switched from Havenstein Mack. I'll go with Sloman versus Patterson as my matchup.
All right, well, I was actually going to raise you a Khalil Mack, but you didn't go there, so I'll just give you Aaron Donald, number 99. I actually think this will be a really interesting matchup with Aaron Donald against the Bears' interior O-line, specifically at left guard. The left guard came up on the injury report. He was questionable heading into tonight's game. He is active. He was full participant in Friday and Saturday's workouts, but he struggled last week at left guard against the Carolina Panthers. They really don't have a lot of depth at offensive line, so I don't know if it's an interesting matchup or if you're a Rams fan, this is a fun matchup to watch out for number 99 and see how he does against Nick Foles.
All right, Serena, we're going to predict Aaron Donald's sack count tonight in just a moment. But before we do, you wanted to add to the Cordero Patterson discussion.
Yeah, DeMarco is exactly right. Cordero Patterson has what we call the green light. The green light means you can return the ball from anywhere if you catch it. I've seen him return it from 9 yards deep. So your kickoff coverage team has to be important. They've been a little leaky a little bit. So you want to make sure that you get out there and your guys are ready to tackle a guy that weighs about 240 pounds. DeMarco, I know you saw him. He is a grown man out there returning kicks and punts.
Why is that guy wearing an 84 number? It should be like a 90 number. He's a defensive end. He's bigger than some tight ends. That's ridiculous at kick return.
And he's their second leading rusher behind David Montgomery. So watch for him on some of that jet sweep action. A little bit like Deebo Samuel, but with a much different body that the Rams contended with a week ago against the Niners. All right, Aaron Donald has not sacked Nick Foles yet in his career. Is this the night? The numbers say so. The pressure rate that Foles has had to overcome while being the starter for the Bears would indicate a much higher sack rate than he's experienced, so perhaps some regression to the mean. Maurice will give you the honor. Does Aaron get a sack or two tonight?
I get to go first. Oh, okay. Well, I'll put the pressure on everyone else. I think with the scheme, the Chicago Bears and what they want to do, Aaron Donald is primed to come out and have at least 2 sacks. I'm going to say 2 today because they love to throw the ball so much. They love to run this side shotgun play action pass where Aaron Donald dominates the guard in between the guard and tackle, that B gap. I think that's where he's going to get through and possibly have 2, maybe 3.
Bears also have a question at left guard. Rashad Coward, who is listed as their starter, has been out with a finger injury this week. Some rumors around Chicago, we could see Alex Bars out of Notre Dame stepping in there. So a favorable matchup potentially. I'll go with 1 just to be conservative and leave maybe Serena or DeMarco to pick 4.
I'm going with 5. I'm going with 5. I was going to say 3, and then I thought about what Warren Sapp put out about Aaron Donald. Greatness calling out greatness, so that tends to be brings the greatness out of great people. So I'm going with 5 tonight.
Okay, so JB plays it safe. DeMarco, you go 5. I'm actually going to agree with Maurice here, and here's my reasons. 2 sacks because 1 and 2. Aaron Donald, I actually pointed out his cardboard cutouts of his kids right before the game. He blew kisses at them. Aaron Donald kind of silenced against the 49ers last week. I see him getting 2 sacks because of these 2. He knows they're in the stands today. They're cheering for his dad.
All right, thank you very much, Serena. Final thoughts from here at midfield at SoFi Stadium. Look, MJD, you've got 2 games before the bye. This is your 3rd home game that you'll have in the front end of the schedule. If you can get to the bye at 6-2, does it tilt toward Inglewood in that second half with 5 of your 8 games remaining against good competition here at home?
Well, yeah, anytime you always want to protect home. And when you hear coaches talk, you want to go undefeated at home. And that's important. So you have the Chicago Bears who come all the way from Chicago here. Yes, it's going to be a tough challenge. Yes, they have a good defense. But you match up well against them. Can you expose some of these flaws they have in the secondary? Can you expose some of the offensive line play that they've had? And a team that doesn't want to run the ball, can you get after Nick Foles and force him into some turnovers? I say the Rams have a great opportunity to come out of this game 5-2 and be heading to Miami ready to roll.
One of your favorite places. It'll be Tua time next week, but it's prime time tonight at SoFi Stadium, Week 7 against the Chicago Bears. Thank you for watching our Rams pregame show presented by Cedars-Sinai. 5:15 is the kickoff on ESPN. You can also watch it locally on ABC here in the greater Los Angeles area. You can listen to MJD, DeMarco, and myself on 710 ESPN or 93.1 Jack FM. For MJD, Serena, DeMarco, I'm JB Long. Thank you for joining us on social and digital channels to preview the Bears and the Rams 55 minutes from right now.